Somewhere right now, someone is crying over something that isn't dangerous at all. A sad song, a movie ending, a text message that stung more than it should have. Your body reacts like it's under threat, but it isn't. So why does it happen anyway? Here's the strange part. Crying doesn't protect you from anything physical. It doesn't fight off predators, it doesn't heal wounds. And yet every human on Earth does it, starting from the moment you're born. That should tell you something. If evolution kept it around this long, it's not an accident. It's not a glitch. It's a tool. Think about it. Newborns can't talk. They can't explain that they're hungry or cold or scared, so they cry. And the sound is engineered almost perfectly to be impossible to ignore. Researchers who study infant vocalizations have found that a baby's cry activates the same alarm circuits in an adult brain as a smoke detector. That's not poetic language, that's biology. Your nervous system treats it as an emergency, whether you want it to or not. Now here's where it gets strange. Somewhere along the way, that emergency signal didn't disappear as you grew up. It just changed shape. Psychologist Ad Vingerhoots, who has spent decades studying tears, found something surprising when he looked at adult crying across cultures. People don't just cry from sadness, they cry from relief, from being overwhelmed, from watching a stranger do something kind on television. The trigger keeps shifting, but the function stays oddly consistent. It's a signal. Not to yourself, to the people around you. That's the part most people never think about. Emotional tears are visually different from the tears that protect your eyes from dust or onions. Biochemist William Frey ran one of the first studies comparing them and found that emotional tears carry a different chemical makeup, including stress hormones your body is essentially flushing out through your face. You're not just feeling something, you're broadcasting it. And broadcasting requires an audience. For most of human history, you didn't survive alone. You survived in a group. A small band of people who shared food, shared warmth, and shared the exhausting job of raising children who couldn't do anything for themselves for years. In that kind of world, showing vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was information. It told the group, without a single word, that you needed help, or comfort, or protection. Oddly enough, that's still what it does now, even in a world that looks nothing like the one your ancestors lived in. Picture this. You're at your lowest, and someone sees you crying and immediately softens. Their voice changes. Their posture changes. They move closer instead of away. That reaction isn't something they decided to do. It's something older than decision-making. Researcher Robert Provine, who studies human behavior in social settings, found that tears alone, without any accompanying words, reliably shift how people respond to someone in distress. Just the tears, nothing else needed. That's the twist most people miss. You don't cry because you're weak. You cry because for almost all of human history, it worked. It got you help. It got you closeness. It got you exactly what your ancestors needed to survive long enough to pass their genes forward, including the same tear ducts you have right now. But here's where it gets even stranger, because crying doesn't only pull people toward you. It's sometimes the opposite. It releases something inside you, whether anyone's watching or not. Studies on stress hormones show a measurable drop in cortisol after a good, long cry. Your body isn't performing for an audience in those moments. It's regulating itself, resetting, almost like it's pressing some internal reset button that nothing else can reach quite as effectively. So which is it? Is crying a signal for others or a release valve for yourself? The uncomfortable answer is both, and that's exactly why it's so hard to control. You can't just decide not to cry the way you can decide not to speak. It bypasses that part of your brain entirely. It comes from somewhere older, somewhere that existed long before language did, long before you had any words at all for what you were feeling. Now, imagine your ancestors huddled together after losing someone, or after a hunt went wrong, or after months of hardship nobody could explain out loud. There was no therapy, no vocabulary for grief the way you have it now. Just tears, passing silently from one person's face to the entire group's understanding of what had happened. You probably never noticed this, But you still do the exact same thing. You cry at a stranger's wedding. You cry during a film about people who don't exist. You cry when a friend finally says the thing you'd both been avoiding. None of that is really logical. It's about something ancient in you responding to connection or the loss of it exactly the way it was built to. At first, this doesn't make sense. Why would something so private be at its core one of the most social things you do? But that's the strange part. Crying was never really about isolation. It was built for closeness. Every tear is a message your body sends before your mind even finishes forming the sentence. So next time it happens, and you feel that tightness in your throat, that sting behind your eyes, remember what's actually going on. It's not weakness, it's not malfunction. It's the oldest form of communication you own, still working exactly the way it was designed to work, long before you ever learned to say the words, "I need you." And maybe that's the real answer. You don't cry because something is wrong with you. You cry because, somewhere deep in your biology, you still remember that you were never meant to survive alone.